All right, everyone. Now it's time for Netherlands news. Of course, it is vastly different from U.S. news. In the U.S., you talk about some attack killed 50 people or something like that, and here it's tractors at the moment. The main funny thing that I saw, apparently, what happened is that parts of the government said that the farmers here were causing global warming. They were causing climate change because of emissions, especially related to nitrogen runoff, which is a problem, admittedly. And, we can get into that sometime in depth because it's a problem actually up in Burlington, in Vermont, because it causes algal blooms within Lake Champlain. It can, cause beach closed days. Get your dog off the beach because if they lap up the water, they'll croak, basically. It's not a pretty sight. But what the farmers did is they got pissed off because they're, very rightfully talking about the fact that they're not responsible for climate change, assuming that you take that claim seriously at all. And so what they did was they went down to Den Haag, and I know I'm probably pronouncing that like an American, so never mind, with a bunch of tractors and managed to cause something like 200 miles of highway backup. And because if you've ever driven behind a tractor, and as a proud Vermonter, definitely I have many times, I don't live that far from actually several working farms, it's not fun because they go like maybe 5-10 miles an hour. Funnily enough, though, the big takeaway for me was that a lot of these tractors at least appeared to be John Deere's. John Deere was born in Rutland. He fled to Illinois, apparently. He was bankrupt, so he left. Because Vermont's never been very good at business opportunities, but he was born right in Rutland, where I literally live, so I thought that was hilarious. So a little bit of Vermont was helping to snarl up the traffic here in the Netherlands. And some people have said, well, what you should do is you should go and see one of these tractor protests and like ride along and record. I'm thinking about it, because it'd be quite funny. It'd be interesting maybe to interview. But I mean, I'd have to assume that the person was bilingual because I don't speak much Dutch other than dirty words. By the way, some people not quite picking up on my joke the other night. I was very disappointed with regards to Pisvlek, or however you'd pronounce it, being the town we're located in. It's going to be fun. But that's really Dutch news in a nutshell. I remember when I was doing the Vermont series, actually, the Vermont news series, sometimes it was difficult to actually find something that, number one, I'd be interested in, number two, other people would be interested in. Because in Vermont, it's very rural, it's basically farms. Here in the Netherlands, it's mostly agrarian, too. It's actually funny because it's a densely populated country. But a lot of it is just these little villages with endless farm. It's like there's not much in the way of wilderness, so to speak. It's going to be quite interesting, I think, actually seeing that countryside Netherlands, tulip farms and stuff like that, I suppose. But I can't imagine that there's a lot of spicy news going on. I can't imagine that in some village of 50 people there are a lot of murders. It's sort of the Vermont thing all over again, so we'll see what happens, but I'd really love it if I see a bunch of John Deere's rolling down the road. Trust me, I will definitely get footage of that. I suppose just as a preliminary thing, I guess I would support the protests because it's funny. It's not hurting anybody. Oh my god, your morning commute took an hour longer. Well, that happens all the time. It's funny because of people on the left, I imagine that probably they would have a thrombosis as a result of something like this. Oh my god, rural people are being bad, which is really funny because they like to go into cities and stop traffic all the time. You see, they even stop foot traffic. Remember that footage there of Antifa stopping the old lady from crossing the road? And she was poking that one dude in the foot, I think. Or I guess it was a dude. It's hard to tell with Antifa. Not because they cover their faces, but the dudes look very girly and the girls look very dudeish. But poking him in the foot, I guess, with their walker. It's very funny. And then I guess the person, the thing there with the mask on started screeching about not getting touched and don't touch me and stuff. And it was very funny times. Yeah, so being back in the Netherlands, so it's time for a new news video series. Maybe I'll pop that on there for 100 episodes. Dutch news or something, do a weekly report. That might be interesting, for 10 people. That's about all. Peace out.